to see you again. Happy Thursday, 10th day of June, 2021. We're in the double digits here in June, almost ready for summer. Summer's 10 days away. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We have 54 degrees under fairly clear skies, but there is now a change in the forecast. From the last time we visited 24 hours ago, we're going to see a few more clouds and a better chance of rain on Friday and maybe even a little bit on Saturday. So we're going to cloud up a little bit. We talked about that low pressure that's spinning off the coast. It's kind of just sitting there, but it eventually has to go someplace, and it's going to come visit us. So it's going to be a little cloudier than we were anticipating at this time yesterday. Complete forecast details are coming up. Looks like it's not going to rain, at least on the big parade on Saturday. In fact, it might be fairly nice, but we can't rule out some light sprinkles here and there. Today is going to be very dry and very windy. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. We got a lot of news to get to. It was a busy day around the bullpen. We got some fresh news stories for you that you're going to hear first here on NCESD Life Channel and Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Sports. Mariners. Wow, what a great game last night. Good job for the Mariners. We got some incredible highlights in case you missed it. They beat Detroit yesterday in the Motor City, and also the Apple Sox got off to a good start. Couldn't hold on. The Sweets got the better part of the Sox. We'll have that too when we get to sports and your latest prep scores. We'll have the obscure holiday. Mike McNally's got an opinion. Some celebrity birthdays today in history. It's Thursday. Pause for Pets is back. Bert the cat needs a home. Megan had a chance to go visit our friends at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. We'll have that for you. And in our interview section, we had a chance to go to the beautiful campus of the North Central Educational Services District yesterday. Had a chance to visit with Josie Komorowski and Dr. Sue Kane. There's a very important free virtual town hall about early education that they want you or anybody who's interested in early education to participate in. The forum will be on Monday night. It's virtual, and Sue and Josie will fill you in on those details, those important details in the back half of the program. Let's get going. Let's see what we got out there on this good-looking Thursday morning. By the way, yesterday's high, 73. Our low was 48. Normally this time of the year, our high and low is 76 and 54. So we've now gone 5 consecutive days with our afternoon high below normal, and is going to be below normal today and Friday, and then back up to normal by Saturday. So we are in a little bit of a cool stretch. Sunrise this morning, 5:04 again. Sun doesn't come up much earlier than 5:04. What gets later is the sunset. That gets a little bit later each day. Sunset tonight will be at 8:57. So 15 hours and 58 minutes of daylight. But again, the sun is not going to come up much earlier than it is now this time of the year. Good morning to the valley from our lower cross camera. And now one of my favorite parts of the show. Where are we going? We're going to go see the Arrondo Rock camera pointed right down the Columbia River. Way off in the distance is Mission Ridge, and the snow is gone, as it should be. We're well into June, so no more snow. And if you've never hiked up Mission Ridge, there's a number of trails. It's a beautiful hike. It's a bit of a workout, as you well know. The parking lot is at about 4,000 feet, and the summit of Mission Ridge is just short of 7,000 feet. But boy, you get up there and you can see the enchantments and Mount Rainier. It's just gorgeous. And now you can take the hike to the top of Mission Ridge because you don't have to worry about any snow anymore. Good morning to our friends at Lake Antioch, camera number 3. Ooh, speaking of beautiful views, I don't know what we're looking at. Megan, what camera are we using? I'm sorry? That's Stein's? That's the Stein's camera? She flipped that baby around. If she flipped it around the other way, we'd be looking at Kashmir. Instead, we're looking at the enchantments and the hills around the Leavenworth area. I think that's actually the big Tumwater Canyon hill to your right. So Leavenworth is tucked on the other side of that beautiful view from Stein's Hill, high above Kashmir. So we're looking to the northwest from that view, and camera number 4. Good. Speaking of Leavenworth, that is the Tumwater Canyon camera. And of course, you can see, if you look to the upper right-hand corner, you can almost see the very tip of Stein's. You can actually see that. So that's pretty cool. I like how you did that, Megan. Good morning to Leavenworth. By the way, you have a chance, if you're a Leavenworth resident, you have a chance to chime in on what they should be doing at the old Osborne Elementary School. They're taking public input on that. Of course, the city now owns the old elementary school, which is just sitting there. The question is, what do they want to do with it? We'll talk about that when we get to sports. Good morning, Leavenworth, from our camera high atop the mountain right before you head on into the Tumwater Canyon. 5 minutes after the hour, we have a slide to show for you from the National Weather Service, and it's about today. It's going to be dry and breezy. Look at that big yellow swath. It looks like it has jaundice. It doesn't. That's just where we're going to have some winds, and we're going to be breezy today. For the Wenatchee Valley, pretty consistent wind, about 15 to 20 miles an hour, most of it later on in this morning and certainly throughout this afternoon and into the evening hours. Gusts as high as 30 miles an hour for the Wenatchee Valley. And of course, there are places in and around our viewing area that are prone to pretty strong winds. And the relative humidity is bone dry, anywhere from 15 to 25%. It's at its highest right now. In Wenatchee, the relative humidity is 47%. It's going to get drier and drier and drier. So any kind of fire, once again, if it gets going, it can really get going. So because of the dry conditions and the breezy weather. So there you go. Heads up on that. So that's a teaser. Let's go into detail. Here's your forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, main weather story today: the breezy winds and dry, cooler weather. That's 73 is below normal. Our normal high now is 77 degrees, so we'll be below normal on Thursday and Friday. Then we transition on Friday as this low over the Pacific Northwest finally begins to move to the east, and it's going to bring some moisture with it. It looks like we're going to certainly cloud up on Friday. We could see a little bit of sprinkles here and there. The clouds will begin to thicken up tonight as you're sleeping. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning with clouds, and we'll have clouds all day. On Friday, again, some light sprinkles, a possibility on Friday. Friday night, about a 30% chance of light rain in the early evening hours. That is when the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade will be going on, so it could get a little damp at times. Saturday morning, some light rain possible in the early morning hours, and then we'll be bathed in sunshine, and we'll get up to near 80 on Saturday for the community parade. And then Sunday, we go right back to the clouds and a pretty good chance of rain both Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. The weather will be unsettled for the last full week of spring. On the 20th of June is not only Father's Day, but the first day of summer. So sunny and breezy today, cloudy with a few stray sprinkles on Friday, and Friday night should be dry on Saturday for the parade, then we cloud back up and could get a raindrop or two to wrap up the weekend on Sunday. That's your forecast. 7 minutes after the hour. Going to take a break and come back. We have a lot of news to get to on this Thursday morning. We'll have it for you in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm John Divis from Wenatchee Dental Arts, and I like to think myself as a comprehensive dentist. We are an office that treats people comprehensively for their dental problems. We do a lot of general dentistry in a broad sense. We don't send everything out. Things that we have the ability to do in the office, we like to keep in the office and under one roof and keep things as complication-free as possible. You can come to one place and have all their dental needs taken care of.
Nine minutes after the hour, bountiful sunshine, 54 degrees. We'll be in the lower 70s, lots of sunshine, a lot of wind today. And then we cloud up with some light rain possible on Friday and Friday night. Quite a bit of sunshine on Saturday for the parade. The clouds and the rain return on Sunday. And here is your news. A 55-year-old Ephrata man was killed Wednesday morning in a one-vehicle rollover on Highway 28 between Ephrata and Soap Lake. The Washington State Patrol says Raymond D. Simpson was driving a 1999 Chrysler Sebring westbound shortly after 10 a.m. yesterday morning when it crossed the center line, traveled through a field south of the highway, and then into a rock pit. And there it struck a boulder and rolled on its top. Simpson was declared dead at the scene. The State Patrol said an investigation into the accident is ongoing, but they believe drugs or alcohol was not a factor. Prosecutors filed charges Wednesday against a Seattle man accused of tying up and beating his girlfriend in a remote Leavenworth cabin. 62-year-old Carlisle Simpson Dean is charged with first-degree kidnapping and 2 counts of second-degree assault. Sheriff's deputies arrested Dean on Friday after the woman drove herself to the Leavenworth Hospital with a broken rib and other injuries. He faces arraignment on June 21st. Dean is one of many descendants of the wealthy DuPont family, which earned a fortune in the chemical industry. He's a frequent large donor to Northwest Charities. A 73-year-old Chelan resident who's been in jail for 15 months was sentenced to twice that long yesterday after pleading guilty to sexually molesting a woman who passed out on the porch of his home. Richard Allen Swain did not admit to the crime, but agreed that he might be found guilty of rape if he stood trial. Chelan County deputies arrested Swain in March of last year after a 31-year-old woman became intoxicated, got separated from her friends, and accepted a ride from Swain to his home. They said genetic material found on the victim showed that Swain had sexually abused her while she was unconscious. He pled guilty last month to second-degree assault with sexual motivation. Officials say a fifth-wheeler fire in the Rimrock area Tuesday night, that's west of Palisades, was started by a child playing with fire. Grant County Fire District 13 responded, but it was unable to save the fifth-wheeler from being a total loss. The fire district said Assistant Chief Todd Huffman spent some time talking with the child about the dangers of fire. Speaking of fire, an Orondo firefighter who pulled a man from a burning car last December was honored Wednesday with a life-saving award from the Washington State Patrol. Back on December 9th, a vehicle that later was reported as stolen left Highway 97 and rolled several times outside Orondo. Firefighter Scott Carter witnessed the accident and was the first one on the scene. After finding the driver unable to escape the burning vehicle because of jammed doors, Carter broke the passenger window and pulled Jorge Cruz to safety as flames were consuming the car. Cruz was treated for minor injuries at Central Washington Hospital. A Grant County judge faced his first confirmation hearing Wednesday after President Biden appointed him to the U.S. District Court. Judge David Estulio, the son of Mexican immigrants, sat before the Senate Judiciary Committee in Washington, D.C. He faces a confirmation vote, along with three other nominees, to sit on the Western District Court of Washington.
As you hear conversations about immigration and the Hispanic population in America and reflect on your own family story, how does it affect your role or how you envision your role as judge?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. My parents' immigration story is both unique but the same as many other immigrants that have arrived here in the United States and sought a better life. And I recognize that. So when people come in front of me, I'm open-minded about different backgrounds, different histories, et cetera. And I want to make sure I have an inclusive environment in everything that I do. Because I recognize people are different. You don't have to be an immigrant to be different. Sometimes people are just different than you. And you need to be open-minded about people's differences and be willing to work with everyone. And that is an approach I take with me every single day on the bench.
Leavenworth residents have more chances this week to give input on what to do with the old Osborne Elementary School property. The elementary school was decommissioned last year, turned over to the city of Leavenworth after students moved to the brand new Alpine Lakes Elementary School. Options being considered for the grounds include a community center, a playground, a duplex housing, and others. The city allows online feedback, or 3 outdoor workshops are going to be held today, Friday, and Saturday at locations around Leavenworth. And finally, on this Thursday morning, COVID-19 may be on the wane, but it remains a workplace concern in our state. Businesses still must monitor employees' vaccination status and handle them appropriately. Brian Haight is with the Department of Labor and Industries, and he explains the restrictions.
Employers, they have the option to allow workers to take off their masks if they can verify that they are fully vaccinated. We understand that fully vaccinated means 2 weeks after their second dose or 2 weeks after their initial dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The employers have to verify this status before they loosen the masking requirements, because they still have an overriding responsibility to make sure that they have a safe workplace for everyone. They have a flexibility to develop their process for verification, and they can choose whatever method will work best for them. The employee can show them their vaccination card. They can show them a picture of their vaccination card. They can sign a written attestation document that says that, yes, I have been fully vaccinated. The employer has it's their choice how they want to develop a record to track this and so that they know who has and who has not. Those who are fully vaccinated and it's been verified, they don't need to mask up in the workplace. They still have the option that they can mask up if they choose to. For the people who choose not to verify, even if they are vaccinated or those who aren't vaccinated fully yet, they need to continue to wear masks in the workplace unless they are working alone. At this point anyway, the masking requirements or the ability to not mask is going to stay in place for the foreseeable future. There's no plans to change that with full reopening yet. We'll still be working through getting increased vaccination numbers even beyond that, and we'll still have a need to protect people who aren't. So that will stay the same for the foreseeable future.
That's what's making news on this Thursday morning. We will have a lot of news again tonight. It's my trick knee telling me that we'll be busy again today in the bullpen. And with a preview of some of the stories we're working on, here's the anchor, Grant Olson. Apparently, Grant has a mild case of laryngitis. But we'll have a newscast for you today at 5, 6, and 10. Friendly broadcasting reminder. Tomorrow, we will not have a newscast for you at 6 o'clock. Grant and I will be hosting the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade. We'll be at the Localtel campus off Grant Road in East Wenatchee. It'll be Grant and I in the anchor chair and Eric Grandstrom roaming the streets of Grant Road. We'll have that for you tomorrow at 6 o'clock here on the NCW Live channel. Then, of course, we'll have the Community Parade, the combined Kai's Fiber Youth Parade, and the Stimulus Growers Grand Parade. We'll have that for you on Saturday morning, beginning at 11 a.m. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you, and you're pretty good at letting us know how we're doing or submitting some news tips. Look at the bottom of your screen. Facebook, our Facebook page. Just use the Messenger app. You can email us directly, news@ncwlife.com, or you can use our website. Pretty handy tool there. Just click on the Contact Us icon, and you're good to go. Jake Fraley is my brand new hero. He plays for the Mariners, and he was a one-man show last night. Some pretty spectacular highlights. When we get to sports, it's 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up on Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Kids are resilient. I just love their energy. They bounce back so quickly. I love the stories they tell. I love just their charisma, their character. I love to see that subtle smile that you pull out of a kid, you know, when you start talking with them about something they really like. I just love what I do, and I can't imagine I would be as happy doing anything else.
Chelan Wireless is your Verizon authorized retailer featuring the latest iPhone and Android devices. Personal or business, they have the plan and the customer service you're looking for.
In these challenging times, Bear Foods is open and ready to help. From health to diet to home, we are here to take care of your needs. Bear Foods, the good food store.
From home furnishings to the latest in home entertainment technology, Deepwater Home and Electronics can provide the selection and the connection for your wireless world.
"19 minutes after the hour, sports. Jake Fraley came up with a game-saving catch in the 9th inning, and then the go-ahead base hit in the 11th. Mariners beat the Tigers in the Motor City. The final was 9-6. The game was tied at 3 with 1 on and 1 out. Bottom of the 9th, Seattle reliever Drew Steckenrider on the mound. Detroit's Isaac Paredes crushing the ball to left. It looked like, for all the world, like a walk-off home run, but Mr. Fraley had other ideas.
Paredes clubs this to left field. Fraley leaps in. Fraley made the catch. Are you serious? Shed gets 2. Wow. Unreal. We have seen some great outfield play in this game. Nothing better than that one right there. Steckenrider, you can't believe it. That was fantastic. Wow. You will never see that quite again.
That was huge because, I mean, it saves you, especially when you're going back on a ball like that. If you're at normal depth, quite honestly, 9 times out of 10, you don't make that play. It's over the fence. So the fact that we were, ahead of the game playing with doubles was huge. Because I was able to get back to the fences, a lot quicker. So, and I was fortunate enough to be able to time it, at the right time. So, that was huge, obviously. So, making that play is all about timing and just getting back as quick as possible.
After that, they went to the extra innings. Each team scored a run in the 10th, and then in the top of the 11th inning, Mr. Fraley comes through at the plate. Then the floodgates were opened.
First, Fraley into center. Badu having to play it on a short bounce. Haniger is in to score. Jake Fraley, give that man the key to the city. He has put the Mariners in front 5-4. He's gotten it done with the glove and now with the bat in the 11th inning. Into center field for a base hit. First big league knock. Dylan Thomas comes in extras and drives in some damage for the Mariners. Trammell pointed his way. Congratulations, Dylan Thomas, who has now made it 7-4. Mariners in the 11th.
Looks like he stays on a breaking ball that's going away from him. It is. It's a breaking ball again. That's probably middle away and a solid line drive base hit. Congratulations to Dylan Thomas.
Murphy stings this fair. Kicking around in left field. Shedlong Jr. scores. Dylan Thomas is coasted home as well. That helmet's kicking around someplace. Who cares? 9-4 Mariners in the 11th.
Once again, the final was Seattle 9, Detroit 6. And manager Scott Service said it was a great team win, but who's kidding who? It was all Jake Fraley.
But it really comes down to the Jake Fraley catch. Wow. I don't think I've seen too many stop the walk-off home run catch in my career. It was incredible play. They made a couple unbelievable outfield plays. We did, and heck of a job by our whole club. Everybody chipped in, and nice to see Dylan Thomas get his first major league hit after a long time also. So fun game. Took a lot out of us, but it's one of those games you look back on, and so many good things happen with so many of our young guys, which is great to see. So.
Not to be left out, Kyle Seager had a 3-run home run, and that tied the game in the 6th inning. Seattle and Detroit play the rubber match of the 3-game set this morning. 10-10 first pitch. Justice Sheffield, Tyler Alexander will toe the rubber. Every team in the American League West victorious yesterday. That doesn't happen too often. Brock Holt's RBI base hit in the bottom of the 11th helped the Rangers walk off against the Giants. 4-3. Oakland's Sean Manena and 3 relievers combined on a 2-hit shutout. The A's beating the Diamondbacks 4-0. Alex Bregman 3-for-4 with a 2-run home run to lead the Astros past the Red Sox 8-3. Kang Wong's 2-run double highlighted a 3-run 6 as the Angels beat Kansas City 6-1. The American League West standings remain just where they were yesterday. Just add 1 in the win column for everybody in the division. Adam Grobe's first inning 2-run home run didn't hold up for the Apple Sox last night. Walla Walla rallied for the 9-2 win. Grobe finished with 2 hits. The University of Ohio's Reese Stapp also came through with a couple of hits in the loss. Our good buddy Joel Norman had the call on Sunny FM.
Well, the Apple Sox started off strong offensively with Adam Grobe launching a 2-run homer in the first inning on Wednesday night against Walla Walla for his second home run in less than 24 hours. However, that would be all that the Apple Sox would get offensively as they fell to the Walla Walla Sweets 9-2. On the mound, Gavin Garrell started really strong, retiring 9 of the first 10 hitters that he faced. However, he faltered in the 4th and 5th innings, and the Apple Sox would end up losing by 7 runs. They'll try to bounce back and take the rubber match against the Walla Walla Sweets on Thursday night at 6:35 p.m. With your Apple Sox update, I'm Joel Norman.
As Joel mentioned, Utah's Gavin Garrell took the loss. He falls to 0-2 on the season. The Sox and the Sweets, the rubber match is tonight at 6:35 for reasons unknown. Our very own Eric Granstrom will be tossing out the ceremonial first pitch. He'll also be joining Joel for a few innings of play-by-play on Sunny FM. Okay, to the West Coast League. Around the league last night, they were able to get that makeup in for the rain delay of the day before with Bend and Cowlitz. It was a 5-inning affair. The final Cowlitz winning 2-1. Game 2, unfortunately, was rained out, so they'll try to get both games in today. with the first pitch at 3:35 at Vince Genis Stadium. Jacob Weiss's 3-run home run and a 4-run fourth inning helped Corvallis beat Port Angeles 4-3. The lefties had the bases loaded in the ninth inning, scored 1 run before Braden Boisvert was able to strike out the final batter for the Knights. Noah Guyette, 2 for 3 with a double and scored what proved to be the winning run at a wild pitch in the 8th as Portland edged Ridgefield 5-4. Michael Carpentier Jr. had a 2-run home run and drove in 3 to lead Yakima Valley over Bellingham 6-2. Dylan Bishop pitched 6 strong innings on the mound with 5 strikeouts to get the win for the Pippins. On the schedule today, it's Yakima Valley and Bellingham meet again at 6:35. It's also the same start time for Portland and Ridgefield, and the second game of the doubleheader between Bend and the Elks and the Bears. All right. For Prep Scoreboard, ladies first, Ephrata rocked Royal last night in girls hoops, 51-37. Bridgeport, no trouble with Aniat, winning 67-27. Coming up tonight, Manson and Tenaska start things off at 5:30. Kashmir hosts Omak at 6. Again, this is girls basketball, also at 6. You got Brewster at Chelan, Libertyville hosting Bridgeport, and Cascade Christian will visit Pateras. The big tilt tonight in girls basketball. Down in Sunnyside, the undefeated Grizzlies, the undefeated Chiefs will do battle at 7:30. Boys basketball last night, Ephrata topped Royal 68-53. Bridgeport coach John McDougall tells us that the Mustangs defeated Aniat 64-53. Junior Yair Diaz led 4 players in double figures with 19 for Bridgeport. On the boys' schedule tonight, you got Manson tipping at Tenasket at 7. The 7:30 games have Moses Lake at Sunnyside, Kashmir hosts Omak, Brewster's in Chelan, Bridgeport travels to Libertyville, and Pateras entertains Cascade Christian Academy. Go Wolverines, and that is just some of the games that people are playing. At 27 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday of the day, you just look at it and you're going to want to eat it. Corn on the cob. Corn on the cob. It's in stores now. Usually arrives in mid to late May. Of course, the height of the corn season is in July and August. Of course, nobody really gives much thought to the development of corn on the cob because for a millennia or two, that's the only way anybody ate corn, was right off the cob. Of course, then the Industrial Revolution came along and they figured out a way to take the corn off the cob and put it in cans or freeze it in bags, but who's kidding who? Corn on the cob, properly prepared, either in the pot or on the barbecue or whatever, and then butter and salt, and yeah, it's down the road you go. I got some fun facts about corn. Corn is grown on every continent on the planet with the exception of Antarctica, which nothing much grows in Antarctica. Corn is the most popular field crop in the United States. It's also the most valuable field crop in the United States, both in production value and overall value. A bushel of corn will sweeten about 400 cans of soda. A pound of corn has approximately 1,300 kernels. There are over 86,000 farms in Iowa that grow nothing but corn, and 87% of those farms in Iowa are family-owned operations. Only 1% of all the planted corn in America is sweet corn. The other 99% of corn that's planted in this country is called field corn. Field corn is either used to feed livestock or to make things. We'll get to that in just a little bit. They, ethanol and manufacturing and stuff like that. When you go to the grocery store, if you go to a fairly sizable grocery store, a Fred Meyer, a Safeway, an Albertsons, a Winco, what have you, there are about 4,000 items in a typical grocery store that have corn in some form or another. That includes toothpaste, marshmallows, shampoos, soda pop. We mentioned that. Corn is used everywhere. Sweet corn is what we eat. And sweet corn you can use corn for lots of different things for human consumption. Corn on the cob is a vegetable. Corn kernels are a grain. I don't know why. Corn on the cob. And there's different ways to prepare corn on the cob. We discovered the best way to do it is you peel the corn off, but you keep it on. You don't take all of the outer layer off. And then you wrap it in foil, and then you put it back on, and so it's loose, and you soak it in water for quite some time, salt water, and then you put it back on, and you wrap it loosely in foil, and you barbecue it, and it's like perfect every time. Just a heads up on that. Happy National Corn on the Cob Day. It was the first thing I had after I had my braces removed. I had to wear braces for a year and a half, and the day I got my braces removed, Mom said, "What do you want for dinner?" And I said, "Corn on the cob," because you can't eat corn on the cob when you're wearing braces. Today in history. It took fascist Italy long enough to join the war. They waited and waited and waited for their allies, Nazi Germany, to pretty much take over Europe. And by June 10th, 1940, after the Dunkirk invasion, Nazi Germany pretty much had control of continental Europe. And that's when Italy said, okay, we're in now. We're joining Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan, and we declared war. Italy did. Benito Mussolini declared war on France and the United Kingdom on this date in 1940. A little late to the party. They were also the first ones out of the party. So there you go. June 10th, 1944, 77 years ago today. This is during World War II. Over 500 Major League Baseball players ended up serving their country in uniform in World War II. Many of them served their country with honor. Most of them played on service teams and didn't really have to do a lot. But they still play baseball in World War II, and because of that, they had a heck of a time filling out their roster. They brought out guys who were 50 years old to play Major League Baseball. They brought out guys who were declared 4F to play Major League Baseball. Pete Gray had one arm and played Major League Baseball for the St. Louis Browns. And Joe Nuxhall of the Cincinnati Reds played Major League Baseball during World War II. He made his Major League debut on this date. He was 15 years, 10 months, and 11 days old, the youngest player ever in Major League Baseball history. He was actually discovered, the Reds were scouting his dad, Orville, who was 34 years old. Instead, they liked what they saw of Joe Nuxhall, and they signed him to a contract. After he graduated, he sat on the bench of the Cincinnati Reds, and then they were getting blown out by the St. Louis Cardinals, so the Reds put him in and said, what the heck? And then he got shelled, and they sent him back down to the minors, and Joe Nuxhall didn't play Major League Baseball for another 4 years. But can you imagine that? 15 years, 10 months, and 11 days old, and he's playing Major League Baseball. He made his debut 77 years ago today. And this is the anniversary of the signing of the Equal Pay Act of 1963. It was signed into law on this date. There is the signing ceremony. JFK signed it into law. The Equal Pay Act of 1963 was designed, as you might imagine, to abolish wage disparity on account of sex. Men were making a lot more money than women, sometimes even doing the same job. Didn't seem fair. So they signed this 58 years ago. So now here it is, 58 years later, and women still make about 78 cents on the dollar compared to men. For every dollar a man makes, an average woman makes 78 cents. After 58 years. We can do better. Birthdays at 33 minutes after the hour. He was born Chester Allen Burnett. He's the Howlin' Wolf, a blues legend. Smokestack Lightning, Backdoor Man, Spoonful, Killin' Floor. Standards of the blues repertoire. Every blues and rock band knows these songs. This is an adult portion of the blues. Do not play any Howlin' Wolf music in your household if there are children around. Oh, I love Howlin' Wolf. We miss him, the great Howlin' Wolf, a blues legend born in the state in 1910. Of course, Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II, died in March at the age of 99. He would have been 100 years old today. He almost made it to the century mark. Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, born in the state in 1921. Always be known as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Of course, she made other great movies. Maybe in St. Louis and any number of movies. And then, of course, she became a major recording and television star in the 50s and 60s. Judy Garland, born in the state in 1922. Her adult life was not good. She died at a very young age, at the age of 1969. Judy Garland's birthday is today. Maurice Sendak, my favorite children's author. Not only did he write Where the Wild Things Are, he illustrated it as well. Multi-talented. Maurice Sendak, born in the state in 1928. Where the Wild Things Are is a good book for adults, much less kids. And good news for me, the restraining order has been lifted, so I can now show Kate Upton's photo on my show. Happy birthday, Kate Upton, the model and actress. I use the term actress very loosely. She's 29 years old today. All right, we're going to take a break. We got three things to get to. We got to my conversation that I had with Josie Komorowski and Dr. Sue Kane from the North Central Educational Services District. That is coming up. We got an opinion from Mike McNaughty. That is coming up, but it's Thursday. Megan McPherson wants to introduce you to Bert the Cat.
Hey Megan here with the NCW Live channel. We are here with Haley at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and Bert is joining us this week. Can you tell us about Bert?
Yeah, so Bert, once upon a time was ours as a kitten. Unfortunately, he came in as a stray again recently, and now that he's 5 years old, he's a little bit looked past since we have lots of kittens right now. But he's a really sweet adult boy. The type of home that he needs would be probably an adult-only home or a home with older kids, probably teenagers or older, just because he is a little bit feisty, but he doesn't let that stop him. He's a really nice guy otherwise. He just prefers doing his own thing and chilling and hanging out. He loves toys. Some of his favorite toys are like the ball toys. And we watch him like play in his kennel for an hour or so when he gets a fresh toy. It's really cute and sweet.
And what should someone do if they want to adopt Bert?
If they're interested in adopting Bert, they need to call our front office at 509-662-9577 to schedule an appointment to meet with him.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open by appointment only. Call them at 509-662-9577 to schedule a meet and greet or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
JDSA Law is a proud sponsor of these local sports broadcasts. They've been serving North Central and Eastern Washington since 1946. For over 70 years, their team of dedicated professionals has delivered quality, innovative legal services. JDSA Law partners with you to provide the finest legal advice and support as you navigate your personal and business challenges, risks, and accomplishments. At JDSA Law, they salute our local athletes and wish them well on another excellent season of competition.
Hi, I'm Shauna Larson. I'm the designated broker here at Laura Mounter Real Estate. We are a locally owned firm, and we've worked hard to earn our reputation of always doing business the right way. Laura Mounter Real Estate is continually investing in the best technologies and highest quality marketing. For these reasons, our community has voted us the world's best real estate office for the past 5 years. If you have real estate needs, let a Laura Mounter real estate agent show you the difference.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around North Central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Building. It's in our blood. Building something out of nothing. It takes heart, grit, and hard work. At One Way Construction, our crew is our family. With decades of contracting experience and our in-house design team, we bring a unique perspective to building. We know that if we work together, we are capable of reaching heights that are impossible to reach alone. The possibilities are endless.
Make being home fun again. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa has just what you need to bring fun back into your backyard. We have a wide selection of artesian spas and swim spas, new and used, to choose from. We are happy to announce we are now selling Rainbow Kids play structures with 50 models to choose from. To help finish off your entertainment area, we have patio furniture and Komodo Joe grills. At Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa, we have just what you need to bring family fun and entertainment to your backyard. Stop by today.
Tipsy Canyon Winery has become the place to go for fine wine and unbelievable views of the Chelan Valley. And now there's even more to enjoy. A new bandstand hosts live music every Thursday night during the spring and summer. The oversized fire pit's a favorite gathering place in the fall and winter. Tipsy Canyon has become a year-round destination for wine lovers. And while things have changed, what remains the same is that at-home feel provided by Mark, Tammy, and Lexi Garland. Stay for the moment that becomes the memory at Tipsy Canyon.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I was talking with a liberal the other day who was bemoaning the foils of Donald Trump. Now, suddenly, though, she said, is this how you conservatives felt about Barack Obama? Well, duh. It is amazing to me that people of opposing political views can't begin to accept that there are political views diametrically opposed to theirs that in the perception of others have great merits, or at least some merit. Of course, though, Trump is an idiot. Well, actually, he's not. And therefore, it's okay to hate him. And Obama did ruin this country. Oh, no, actually, he didn't. So it's okay to hate him. This is how people think. Now, sorry, folks, just because someone doesn't agree with you politically doesn't make them wrong. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Green Motion e-bikes have rolled into Wenatchee. We've got fun, affordable e-bikes for the whole family. Portable e-bikes that fit right in the trunk of your car. Fat tire mountain bikes plus unique vintage style bikes you won't find anywhere else. Get some exercise with pedal assist or just cruise up to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. Starting under $1,000, Green Motion e-bikes are affordable fun for the whole family.
Today, we're doing some employee development with our technicians.
Today, we're going to learn how to give our home a hug.
It's not just a motto, but a unique way that Patriot technicians care for your home.
Oh, no, come on. You really got to get in there and get your arms around it, give it a good embrace. All right, hey, good job.
I think the training is going really well.
Heating and cooling will give your home a hug.
Highlander Grill and Golf Course is known as one of the finest wedding venues in the Wenatchee area. You do not have to be a member to come to Highlander. Highlander Golf Course offers a first-class backdrop for your wedding day. Our friendly professional staff will ensure your wedding and reception is picture perfect, from every moment leading up to the I do's to when the lights go down at the end of your reception. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We endeavor about once a month to visit with our friends at the NCESD, the North Central Educational Services District, a very important topic and something we want you to participate in on Monday, the 14th. The guest to my immediate left, making her very first appearance on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, is Dr. Sue Kane.
Hi.
Never been on the show before.
Right.
And, introduce yourself to our television family.
I'm Josie Komorowski. I'm the Early Learning Coordinator at the North Central ESD.
So that entails what exactly? Walk me through your daily routine.
I get to support 29 districts in our 4-county region in their preschool through 3rd grade endeavors.
So I read this, in fact it was on your site, it says by age 5, 90% of a child's brain has developed, except mine, that's how I ended up on television, of course. Early childhood education, it can't be, and Sue has mentioned this on my show, you can't start early enough, can you?
Nope. Prenatal is really where it begins, and we start in preschool in our agency. Actually, Janelle in our birth to 3 starts earlier, but I start in preschool, and so that's where our conversation is going to start on Monday.
And a lot of folks, of course, who's kidding who, even pre-COVID, it was a 2-income household for almost everybody, which means somebody is taking care of your kid during the course of the day, and they need to be licensed and responsible and understanding their role, don't they, when mom and dad aren't around?
It's true. Childcare is one of those conversations that is reverberating through our community at many different levels. It has impacts on family dynamics, as you're talking about there. It has impacts on regional economics. It has impacts on businesses. Every aspect of that early childhood education and care space has been impacted by COVID over this past year. So there's a lot of conversations around early learning.
Well, are parents pretty good at doing their homework when it comes time to okay, I'm gonna go back. I've had my kid. I'm gonna go back into the workplace. I'm gonna go back to my career. Now we're gonna have to send the kid to daycare or childcare for a certain part of the day. What should the parents be doing, looking for, despite the fact, okay, they have a license and that's about it? It's more than that, isn't it?
There are a lot of different factors that families can look for, and families have different priorities. Our partners at Child Care Aware of Central Washington are a great resource for families to contact. They can connect families with childcare providers depending on what they need, but we're also making sure that providers are offering high quality educational opportunities that meet the needs of kids that are all over the learning spectrum and have needs that might vary.
Do they turn to you often for that? I mean, the newly licensed child cares, hey, I passed my inspection, I can welcome kids, but I don't know if I'm a teacher or know really on that aspect of it.
So child care providers typically work with early achievers for their professional development, but we do partner with them to provide clock hours and STARS hours and professional learning opportunities.
One of the unique aspects of North Central Washington is actually the number of care providers that are not formal childcare licensed centers. When Josie and I have been doing this research, and we've actually had partnerships across the state to get data to really understand where kids go during the day, 80% of the kids that are in North Central Washington are in family, friend, and neighbor care providers, and they're not in licensed care facilities. And there are not
80%?
80%.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's interesting because that conversation, that question about what do families look for, assumes that you have options. And right now, the case is such that you might not have very many options if you have options at all. That's part of the conversation that we want to have with community stakeholders is the lack of availability of childcare. I have teased at times about how you almost have to bring an ultrasound picture with you to say we are expecting a need for childcare about 6 months from now, or a year from now, to be able to get on some of the lists. Right now, our opportunity to provide care for students, we've got some new data in partnership with Washington STEM and the child care collaboratives across the state, and they're telling us we have 2 out of every 10 infants who need care are finding care. 3 out of every 10 toddlers are finding care. We don't have enough childcare opportunities for the families in North Central Washington to return to work. And that's really going to impact our ability to grow and develop as a region, for families to come back to work after the pandemic. And so that's really what's pressing this conversation to a more, to a broader community level.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the COVID was really did 2 things to the professional child care people who've been at it for years. Number one, the folks either couldn't afford it because they were being laid off or they had their budget cuts, or number 2, they didn't need to send their kid to child care because all of a sudden they're working at home, and so they don't have to send the kid off. And for a lot of these daycare and child care places, they closed and never reopened.
That's right. Yeah, there was new regulations if you were staying in business about how you could do business just like every other sector. And then the habits of your families. You might have previously served 14 families, and half or more of those no longer needed childcare at that moment. So you had to try to figure out how to make ends meet on less income. And unfortunately, our data is telling us that we lost 44 childcare providers from a system that was already pretty stressed. And it's still kind of uncertain trying to get things back open, with all of the other uncertainty that many of our small businesses will recognize in their own sectors.
That 80% number still alarms me. So is like grandma and grandpa watching the kids? Is that what's going on?
Grandma, grandpa, neighbors, aunties, friends.
And they may be the very best, but they're not really trained or educated on how to develop the kid's brain as they get older and older and older.
It's interesting because we have this conversation often. So youth are going to learn from the environments that they're in. And so it's not that they're not learning, they absolutely are learning. And family education and the things that you are teaching youth learn. Josie and I had this conversation actually yesterday. They learn from watching you. How many times do I see, my own toddlers were poking at their phones, with a block type of thing. They're always going to learn from everything that's in their environment. And you want that environment to be multidimensional, and you want specific skill sets to be developed early on so that youth are ready for school. And that's part of the work that Josie does, is just making them supporting those early learning providers, whether they're in-home providers or formal licensed child cares. Either one, we want them to have access to the tools and resources that they need to be able to develop kids and get them ready for benefiting from school.
You like your job, Josie?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
What got you into it?
I started out in early learning in high school, actually. I started teaching at the daycare that I went to as a child, and I never left. And now I have 2 little people at home, and so it's really nice they get to be my guinea pigs. I have a toddler, and so he gets to feature in some of my little videos, and I have a 5th grader who likes to play along. But it really is hard work, and it's challenging to always meet the emerging needs, and this year has had a lot of emerging needs that we have tried to meet, and I think that it always comes back to play and being playful and using play to support the needs of young children. And that's how they learn. So,
well, let's talk about Monday night. This is a very important night. It's a Zoom meeting. It's virtual only.
Yep.
It's through Sue's group, the Apple STEM Network, and the North Central Educational Services District. Details. Who wants to handle that little portion of it? Dr. Kane, you want to do the honors?
So we actually, as I mentioned, we've got some amazing leads at the state level who are providing us regional data. And so we first want to be able to unpack that data and arm the stakeholders who are interested in really kind of thinking about this with us and bringing partners out of the woodwork to be able to get some creative solutions on the table for discussion. So we'll give you access to that data so that you can kind of describe what's going on across the region. And then we want to be able to create some space, hold some space for some of these partners to come together. We've seen creative solutions to childcare, both the quantity and the quality kinds of spectrum questions when partners come together. So whether it's an industry that has been having trouble finding employees because of childcare shortages, or it's a school that's interested in supporting the immediate community, we really want to cast a broad net and say, who wants to come together and think deeply about what this might look like? And then it will be on us to go looking for opportunities to secure the resources to make those things possible.
And these are one of the resources right here.
Oh my gosh.
Lady to your left.
I will tell you, we are so lucky to have somebody like Josie Komorowski in North Central Washington. Not only is she incredibly knowledgeable about youth development, but a fantastic collaborator and partner, and I think we're just really lucky to have her.
And you will be part of the Monday night get-together, right?
Yes, I'll be there.
So if you go to the North Central Educational Services District website, it's pretty simple, but you do have to sign up in advance. What else do people need to know about Monday nights?
When you come, it's 5:30 a start, so we are planning on doing a little bit of that data unpacking to begin with, and assuming that you are wrapping up maybe your dinner or you are commuting back home or whatever that might be. But we do intend for you to be interactive, so do plan on engaging. It's not an entirely sit and get presentation. The conversation that is to be had is supposed to be active involvement.
I know this sounds silly, but who is this for? Who do you want to log on and participate Monday night?
We would love to have families, school board members, school partners, community members, child care providers, employers, anybody that is impacted by child care and the lack of child care in our community. And we will have Spanish interpretation available.
Yep.
Again, it's one thing to have good natures and good thoughts and doing your very best to help the kids along, but it just a little helping hand from the professionals who know what they're doing can mean a lot, doesn't it? It can really help you out. So go with the pros. That's what I always say. I'm part of the don't do it yourself movement. If I don't know what I'm doing, I always turn to people who do know what they're doing, and you two people know what they're doing. So.
I think we learn as much from the families and the schools and the communities we serve as we do any kind of, it's about creating a space for those conversations. And then really providing that back-end support to build those things. So we're not coming with any preconceived ideas about what this should look like, but we are coming with the belief that when our communities come together, we are better and more creative, and that the solution is out there.
I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
Yeah, again,
Thanks.
It's Monday. All the information is on the website. Thanks for doing the show. Come back and do the show again, will you?
We'd love to.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you should make this a new office. This is it. Yeah.
I love your headquarters. I really do. And Dr. Sue Kane making her very first appearance here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we'll be right back.
Join us for the NCW Library Show. We've got something for everyone. Our show is full of inspiration, learning, and fun. Check out our do-it-yourself STEM activities. Enjoy story time with Miss Claire. Get moving with an easy yoga flow with Miss Melissa. Get book recommendations from our NCW librarians, and much more. Tune in each week for a new episode. Also, find us online at ncwlibraries.org and follow us on Facebook for the latest library news and programs. Be kind and read on.
At Earthwise Pet, we take an all-natural approach to wellness and nutrition. Our professional certified groomers were trained by the best in the Pacific Northwest. Our staff here at Earthwise Pet are all certified in pet nutrition. We are here to help you select the perfect food, supplement, and anything else you may need to make sure your pet is living its best and most healthy life. Earthwise Pet, Nutrition Center and Wellness Spa. Online or in the store, we are here for you.
What is home? A place to gather, a place to grow, provide shelter for the ones we love, eat, drink, restore, build trust. It's a place to rest when the workday is done, a place to find quiet after a night of good fun. What an honor we have at Guild to help own, finance, create, pave the way to live in home.
Hey folks, Carrie here from Blueberry Hills, here to welcome you back to all the delights of both indoor and outdoor dining. As things continue to normalize, you can expect the same great experience that's made Blueberry Hills a true family favorite for the last 20 years. We've added a few new items to the menu, but not to worry, because we're still serving up your old favorites too. So come on out to Blueberry Hills, where people fall in love at the very first bite.
We are back with about 3 minutes to go on this Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Before we dive into the weather forecast, quick programming reminder on what we have for you for Apple Blossom Weekend. Of course, tomorrow night we will be at the local hotel campus on Grant Road in East Wenatchee to bring live coverage of the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade that begins at 6 o'clock. With our live coverage, it'll be Eric, Grant, and myself. Eric will be roaming around with a wireless camera and a wireless microphone talking to some of the car owners and entrants as they come down Grant Road, and Grant and I will be describing the action. Grant knows a lot about cars. I know nothing about cars. I barely know how to drive a car, but we'll take a run at it anyway. That'll be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And then Saturday morning at 11. It's just the one parade this year. It's called the Community Parade. They're combining the Kai's Fiber Youth Parade and the Stimmo Growers Grand Parade into one big parade, the Community Parade, and we will have that for you as well, live at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. We're looking forward to that. Very dry, very breezy is the weather story today. The relative humidity is already beginning to drop. It's down to 44%, and it's going to be down about 20% by the end of the day today, and the winds will be picking up in intensity. Right now at Pangbourne, the wind is out of the west-northwest at 15 miles an hour. It's going to get up to about 20 miles an hour, and then gusts above 30 miles an hour, and that's just for the Wenatchee Valley. Other locations in our viewing area that are always susceptible to the strong winds will be dealing with some strong winds. So the combination of low relative humidity and very strong winds, we're going to keep a close eye on any kind of wildfire that can get going, because it'll take off under these conditions. And also, they've changed the forecast just a little bit. From the last time we visited, the big change, we have an increasing chance of rain. Here's your forecast from the National Weather Service. Again, sunshine today. That high of 73 is once again below normal. We've had 5 consecutive days with our afternoon high below normal. We're going to have that again today and tomorrow, for that matter. Sunny and breezy today, just about 72 or 73. For the afternoon high, 51 for the overnight low tonight. In the evening hours, while you're sleeping, is when the clouds will begin to roll in as that next low swings into our area, which means we're going to be pretty cloudy on Friday, and a high of about 73 or 74, and some light sprinkles off and on throughout the course of the day on Friday. No wind in the forecast, though. Friday night, about a 30% chance of light rain in the early evening hours, overnight low of about 52. Saturday for the parade, a few passing high clouds, maybe some light sprinkles, but by the time the parade gets going at 11 a.m., it should be sunny and dry and pleasant and about 80 degrees, and then another system comes in Sunday to cloud us right back up and cool us right back down again. That's it for us. Have a great Thursday. We hope to see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Until then, bye-bye.